Hey, I was just using a technique I call bridging. And it's really something I came up with out of frustration because I couldn't combine what I knew into something meaningful. And I guess you know the same problem, right? We learn a lot of stuff. We have scales, we got techniques, we got rhythm work, everything. And we just expect that to come together at some point into this relaxed, fluent playing style of ours. And for most people, that never happens. Actually, if you imagine a triangle, we have the biggest part of the triangle is beginners. That's the bottom part, right? And then as we move up into the middle zone, the intermediate zone, most people, they fall off the wagon, right? They give up. And so that middle zone is a little bit smaller. And then we have that top triangle. That's the advanced expert level. And most of the intermediates in the middle, they just hang around in the middle. They never get to that top triangle because we don't know how, because nobody, it's almost like people refuse to teach us that. Because it's like, yeah, you got the tools now, man. You got the scales, you got the everything. Then you just combine that and make your own creative thing. And, my impression of what goes on is really that the people in the top triangle, they just got there because they were lucky to do the right things. They intuitively did the right things. And if you look at those top players, you will see patterns. You will actually see that they do the same things. And if you can analyze your way into seeing what is it that they do, and then extract that knowledge, you can come up with some pretty cool insights that will actually show you how to get there miraculously. If we don't make them too special, if we don't make them super talented in our heads and say, oh, that's just some magical quality, but you actually say, how did they get there? What are they doing different from me? And bridging is one of the things that they all do. I can promise you that. But, 99.999% of them has no idea they're doing it. It's just something that appeared. The brain tried to solve the problem, their brain, and it came up with the solution unconsciously or subconsciously. And it's got 3 different applications, this same principle of bridging. Just imagine, that you've learned a lot of stuff, right? You got sequences, and you got licks, and you got phrasing techniques, and you can do all kinds of stuff. You're practicing a lot, but you can't combine the freaking things, right? You try to do runs, and then you get to the end of it, and then bam, you don't know what to do, right? Or you do licks, but you stumble because you can't really connect them. And then you think, okay, and then I need to connect it all, right? I need to practice going from this lick over in this lick, and I need to practice this sequence with this sequence. But just take 10 different things, and then sit down with a piece of paper. We don't do that, but with an iPad or whatever, and then calculate your way to the number of combinations of those 10 things. If you really have to connect them all so you can go into everything from everything, and then say you have 20 different sequences or licks or things you can do, arpeggio shapes and all kinds of movements. It's really a daunting task to get to that point where you can just, everything you learn, you can just combine it with everything else. But the solution to that, and the fastest way of coming or getting to that freedom, is bridging. And it's something that everybody does on that top level. Here it is. I have one, when it comes to, soloing licks, this is the first application. I'm going to deal with the next 2 in the following 2 videos. And this is actually part of my power lick philosophy. And I have a new, on CEQUENTIA.com, we have a new program out that deals with classical sequences. But so just focus on this now and not the new program. The bridge here, I'm just going to play it for you. It's just a common sequence. That's it. That's my bridge. In this case, I have my first finger in the 8th, the second finger in the 10th, and the 4th finger in the 12th fret. I hit the first note in the 8th fret, hammer on to 12th, and pull off again down to 8th, and then I go all the way up to 12, 10, 12, 10, and back again. So I go... That's it. And then I put my 3rd finger in the 10th fret, in this case, and then I can slide that up or down to any ending note I want. So I could go... Or go to a note on the other string. I have practiced ending this little thing. Please stay with me. This is important. So I have practiced ending this little sequence in as many ways as possible. Why? Because then I can practice taking that sequence and adding it or integrating it. Practice going back and forth between everything I know and that one little sequence. Because if I can do that, I can end anything I play. So let's say I'm just practicing something simple like, just a 3-note per string. How do you end that stuff? Well, you just practice going. Now I just entered into a little pattern that I can end in any way I want, right? Because I practiced that. Right? Right? So this is genius, right? I didn't invent this. People did, unconsciously. You take anything and you combine it with that same little thing that you're very good at, and then you construct cool endings to that little sequence. And it's so short that people won't notice that you're playing it all the time, right? Okay, so we can take I hope you get me here. I could also, play. Right? I can play any sequence and then combine it with the same freaking thing that I can end in any way possible. Any way, and I can always add new endings to my. Right? I could go. Right? And So I practice sliding with the top finger up to the next note in the scale, wherever I am. Oh. Right? So that means that if I'm putting that to anything I. Right? Hear that? So I'm just adding that to everything instead of adding everything to everything, right? And getting that huge amount of combinations I have to learn, like put this sequence in front of everything else and go from this sequence to that sequence and this and this and this and that. I just say, okay, I have a bridge now. The same freaking little bridge. And the next step is to say, okay, if I can begin and end everything I know with, then I can just, in order to get from this sequence to that, I can just pass through this same little sequence I have, right? And that was just such a total breakthrough for me because now I could go. You hear that? It's almost impossible to hear, but. Right? So practically what this means is that you take anything you know and then you simply connect, you practice going in and out. And please forget about rhythm. Please forget about the number of notes you're playing. You can always deal with that later. But the important thing is that if you have a hard time playing a full run and you don't know when to stop and start it, because, then by all means, try this. Have some loop that you can end in, and if you can end anything in, right? And you can take this and you can go out of it. Let's say you want to go out of it with, then I'm practicing. Okay. And I'm simply attaching it, right? I go, and then I play. I don't care about the number of notes or whether it fits the 16-note triplets or whatever. I just put it together, right? Oh, let's say I have a sequence like, and it starts on the middle note of the 3. And then I practice, the picking, the everything. And it's important that it's a hammer-ons and pull-offs, effective little thing, because that gives me a break from alternate picking as well, right? So I can go. And I can continue that down another legato sequence if I want to, or another, right? Or right. I hope you get it. This is a total game changer When you, instead of trying to combine everything and you just take that one little thing, you become so good at that, you become good at that little, ending it in multiple ways, and you become good at, gradually, at going in and out of everything you know from that same little freaking bridge. It will expand your playing so fast, it's amazing. Instead, in the beginning, it's of course a little slow because you still have to do some work before you start connecting anything, but if you start with just the endings, just the... right? Or whatever. Right? Right? And then now you have something you can go into and end your run, into and end your lick, right? And then you can go in and out of every sequence you know, every lick you know, make it a one-string thing, and preferably maybe a legato, effective legato thing. This works pretty well, because I pick the string, then I hammer on right after I picked it, and then I have a pull-off again, right? So the pull-offs are very effective, but take something that's very effective for you, and that perhaps you already know pretty well, right? Practice it a lot, make it a loop, so you can both stay in the bridge, and you can end it, because that also gives you the ability to take a run, and then have it end and begin, You want to end it right away? Or do you need a little, right? Do you need a little extra until you get to 1 in the bar? Then you can just loop it. Or if you then start practicing other sequences with it, in and out of it, you can go to another sequence. And there you have it. There you have your freaking freedom, right? In record time. So that's the first application. Tomorrow we're going to look at the next.